नमस्कार, द लीगल प्लेटफॉर्म
नमस्कार।
में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं नीरज कुमार। आज आपसे बहुत दिनों बाद मुलाकात हो रही है क्योंकि बीच में मैं खुद कोविड का शिकार हो गया था और तबीयत ठीक हुई, हॉस्पिटल में रहा, उसके बाद अब वापस आया हूं तो इस अपने प्रोग्राम को दोबारा शुरू कर रहा हूं। और आज हमने जो मुद्दा लिया है वो दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट ने अभी एक फैसला दिया है। जो दिल्ली में पिछले साल दंगे हुए थे उनमें जिन छात्रों और जिन लोगों पे मुकदमे लगाए दर्ज हुए थे, जिनको जमानत नहीं मिल रही थी, तो दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट ने अभी जमानत दी है उन 3 लोगों को। उसमें उसके बाद उस फैसले में, उस जमानत के फैसले में दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट ने कई सारी बातें कही हैं जिनसे कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा लगता है कि जो दिल्ली पुलिस की या जो सुरक्षा एजेंसियों की जो काम करने की शैली है, कहीं ना कहीं उस पर सवाल खड़े कर होते हैं। इस पूरी बातचीत में हमारे साथ होंगे कर्नाटक हाईकोर्ट के पूर्व कार्यवाहक मुख्य न्यायाधीश और गुवाहाटी हाईकोर्ट के पूर्व मुख्य न्यायाधीश श्री के श्रीधर राव जी। जस्टिस राव, आपका द लीगल प्लेटफॉर्म में स्वागत है।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
सबसे पहले आपसे यही जानना चाहूंगा कि whatever the court has said in its verdict while giving the bail to all these 3 accused, I agree that giving the bail is not, they are still accused. But the way Delhi High Court has given its observations, given its readings in the judgment, do you think that it raises question on the working of the Delhi police or the investigating agencies?
Sir, देखिए, I went through the judgment, the text of the judgment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, the judgment is written in a perfunctory way. It has not addressed to all the aspects which the prosecution has pointed out. Especially in the order itself, the bail order itself, the Delhi High Court makes a specific provision enumerating the contentions raised by the respondent for opposing the bail. If you look at the points at F, D, and H, there is a clear mention of these people, appellants, being present, participated, video clips, statement of the witnesses, everything is recorded there about their presence as a party privy to the conspiracy, and also actively distributing the bombs, bottles, and then chili powder to attack the police and all these things. First of all, you must look to the background of the case. Why for this CAA protest started? It is, in fact, on the ground that, see, there was a valid ground for the government of India to grant, the parliament to pass a law and to grant citizenship to persecuted minorities in the Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh.
Yes.
And it does not, it's not a new invention by this government. It dates back to the partition, the Congress resolutions, the statement made by the former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, seeking for giving citizenship to these persecuted minorities. The entire problem is, as raked up by the opposition and the liberal group, they wanted that they accuse it as a religious discrimination. I don't think it's a religious discrimination. It is well founded because they are all minorities. The government took a stand that illegal migrants, their contention is that whoever has come to India, whether it's an illegal migrant or anybody, they should be granted. That appears to be their contention, and that's also the contention before the Supreme Court. They say that it violates Article 14 because it's only discriminates on the ground of religion. There is nothing like a Muslim majority country, Muslims being persecuted like that. There is nothing like that. So therefore, the intention was to oppose this legislation. And if it was purely in a civil with all civility and in a non-violent manner, anybody would accept it. But the thing is not that. I think Harsh Mandar, it has also appeared in media. He exhorted who have lost faith in the courts, come to the streets. Even Sonia Gandhi, she also exhorted people to come to the streets. What all it's all? It's instigation. And these people name are this Narewal and all. as enumerated in the respondents' submissions for opposing bail, she is actively participant. If you look at the order, it is very perfunctory. They don't address to the points made by the respondent, the state, about her active participation and physical presence at the time of and around the time of these protests, violent protests. And it's a case where policemen have been injured, killed, and IB officer was brutally stabbed. And it is they say that terrorism, they go to the definition of terrorism, and besides it's a terrorism, I also find it's an unlawful activity. If you go to the definition of an unlawful activity, it says it refers to the cessation and other things. The other provision also mentions that it challenges the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. That's one of the items in the unlawful activity definition. And unlawful activity is also a specific offense which is punishable with 7 years and all that under section 13 of the Act, UPAP Act. See, sovereignty, after all, Parliament has passed this law. Parliament is also sovereign. It has got a sovereign function to pass the law. And it has received the assent of the President. If at all they have any grievance, they could show that it is violative of the Constitution and they do it. But going to the streets, making it a matter of a street fight and targeting the Hindu community people, this is very bad. And it falls within the definition of terrorism also. If you look at the definition of terrorism, I'm sorry, the court refers to this Supreme Court's the judgments where the terrorism is clearly defined. And the points pointed out by the respondent about the activities of these appellants and presence and participation and not merely conspirators, they are active participants also. That is one of the grounds made out, and that is not referred to in the judgment at all. They totally ignore that. If you look at the judgment of Hitensh Chandra Vishnu Thakur case, the Honorable Supreme Court says, this is referred to by the court in the judgment, Delhi High Court in the judgment, says that extent and reach of terrorist activity must travel beyond the effect of ordinary crime and must not arise merely by causing disturbance of law and order, and even public order. The Honorable Supreme Court says that effect of terrorist activity must be such that it travels beyond the capacity of ordinary law enforcement against enforcement agencies to deal with it under the ordinary penal law. This is one of the observations which the court extracted in its judgment. And another thing, the Supreme Court also refers to PUCL case, Public Union for Civil Liberties case. There, the Supreme Court has clearly defined what terrorism is, terrorist act, both and referring to provisions of TODA Act and all that. They say that terrorists are meant to destabilize the nation by challenging its sovereignty and integrity, to raise constitutional principles we hold dear, to create, these are all different, each to be read distinctively, to create psyche of fear, and anarchism among the common people, to tear apart the secular fabric, to overthrow democratically elected government, to promote prejudice and bigotry, to demoralize the security forces, to thwart the economic progress and development, and so this cannot be equated with usual law and order problem within the state. On the other hand, it is interstate, international, and cross-border in character. Fight against the overt and covert act of terrorism is not a regular criminal justice endeavor. Rather, it is a defense of our nation and its citizens. It is a challenge to the whole nation and invisible forces of Indianness that binds this great nation together. These are the observations. So, which blocks the economic progress, create a prejudice, and create a fear among the people. What is it, sir? The policemen were killed, and common people were terrorized, shops were razed, property was destroyed. What it is? The background behind this CIA is only to terrorize. And if you look at the definition of this,
but the thing is, like when it happened, it is not sure who did what doing that. Okay, these people were there. These people have been charged with those things. They were anti-terror, but the High Court has clearly said that this activity cannot be treated as terrorist activity, because it is that protest. The right to protest is part of article right to freedom.
Sir, that is
and they have not. They have not. The court has said that they have not got any proof of that. Okay, they have got the arms with them or any other thing with them. Okay, वहां पे गोलियां चली, वहां पे बम फूटे, वो एक चीज है. But these people were not part of that, or they were not.
These were present. That is the case of the respondents. They have referred to the material, statements of the witnesses. Nothing is referred to say that this is wrong. The presence and participation of these people,
that means
mentioned it.
Saying that
the Supreme Court, Delhi High Court does not refer to any of these things.
So that means you are saying that Supreme Court, the Delhi High Court decision, in some way it's not जैसे कहना चाहिए क्या prejudiced है?
No, not prejudiced. They have not considered the material. They have not considered the material pointed out by the respondents as a part of the charge sheet. They have not considered that material. It has gone only on the basis of definition of terrorism and all that. And if you look at the extracts of the definition of the Supreme Court and juxtaposed with the material on the charge sheet, it clearly shows it's a terrorist act.
Okay. Acha, sir, my other question is like
the Supreme Court has defined what terrorism is.
My next question is related to this only. Like, do you think that the UAPA, use of UAPA and sedition law has suddenly increased? Because I have some data, I must tell you the data that in last 5 years, 2015, there were 897 cases registered under UAPA. In 2016, the number went up to 922. Then in 2017, the number slightly went down and it became 901. Then in 2018, it became 1,182, and 2019, 1,126. These data, and as far as the sedition, the sedition was not part of this case. But I'm giving you the example that sedition cases have increased. There were 30 in 2015, 35 in 2016, 51 in 2017, 70 in 2018, and 93 in 2019. So, do you think that suddenly the use of these laws have increased, and does this show any kind of?
There is an increase in crime, therefore they applied the law. Do you think that it's a very, very peaceful society? There has been no crime of this nature, no crime of this armed rebellion and killing of people, riots, and in riots, you see police stations were torched. The police have been very magnanimous in not dealing with them. I think the very wrong concept of the law and order machinery. They are ignorant of right of private defense. Even an individual has got a private defense to defend himself when his life is at threat, and the life of another man is at threat, and the property of his or another man is at threat. When a policeman on a duty with armed, equipped with arms, should he not defend himself? Somebody attacks him, throws stones at him. Do you mean that they should receive the stone and then remain to expect the Director General of Police or the Home Ministry to issue a notification that he should fire and to defend himself? It's irony, sir.
I think that is why they have got the immunity, some kind of immunity. the security forces, including the police and all other central forces
Sir,
and all
it is the
forces,
criminals
they
have got
got
the
some
immunity
kind
in
of
law.
immunity.
It is criminals
And,
who are getting immunity in law, not the police. When police stations are being torched, they can't even fire at them. The law, deterrence law is totally lost. In a democracy, taking the matters to the street for a settlement is something anachronism. It's anathema.
True.
You can't expect people to go on streets, vandalize the property, kill the people, throw bombs to find a solution. Should that be approved? And to look at, to view this.
I agree. I agree.
No, I'm again referring to judgment of the Delhi High Court.
Okay.
It is out of context, totally irrelevant to mention about the dissent and all that. The facts of the case does not disclose that it is an acceptable dissent. It's a violent way of protest amounting to a terrorism. Where is the question of considering the matter of dissent and all this in this matter?
Okay. But the Delhi High Court has said that this is a state law, general law and order situation should be dealt in IPC, not in UAPA or the other law.
Sir, as I said, the court does not deal with the points raised by the respondent state.
Okay.
Have you gone through the judgment opinion of the judges where they refer to the views of the submissions made by the respondent? Have you gone through? Have they discussed anything about that? And see, one thing, the wrong notions have been crept in the minds of judges and also the people. The innocence, presumption of innocence, it only starts at the trial stage, not at the investigation and bail. Investigation and bail, the question of innocence does not arise. It is a caveat against the injunction against the judge not to presume the guilt. Not against the, if that is so, if everybody presumed, then the question of arrest and detention doesn't arise at all. Everybody has to be granted bail. In a charge sheet, there is a definite accusation and a prima facie material. You must look to that. When there is a prima facie material, there is a presumption that he should be denied bail. Some of the judgments of the recent times of the Supreme Court have virtually diluted the law relating to the jurisprudence of the jail. And the question of right of jail not bail and all the bail not jail, they are all of Supreme Court judgment. If you look at of Justice Krishnaiyer, that was rendered in a case where it was a bailable offense. The accused was not granted bail because he did not submit local sureties. In that context, the Supreme Court heavily came down and made a passing remark. And that is not a statutory law. If you look at the statutory law, it does not say that bail is a right and then jail is an exception. Law does not say so. If you read 43, 437, 438, and 438, 439, it doesn't say so. 439. Why the powers are given to Sessions Court and High Courts in a case where offense is punishable with the death or life imprisonment? The lower courts have no jurisdiction to grant bail. It is only High Court and the Sessions Court and the High Court that can grant bail. And there they consider prima facie case is one of the major ingredients. It's not merely to secure attendance. It does not run away and all. They are all minor, petty things. Prima facie case is otherwise law of deterrence is lost. A fellow kills and tomorrow he walks in the society, walks in the village. What do people think of?
But do you think that law of deterrence stops crime? Because
Yes,
the crime is
definitely.
increasing.
Why not?
But the crime is increasing. But if you go to NCRB data, every year the crime is increasing. And all the law is treated as a deterrent law.
It is because of the liberal attitude of the courts. Crime is increasing because of the liberal attitude of the courts. In a place like this, what is the intention? What is the motive of CAA rights? And what is the involvement of these people? As pointed out by the respondent, nothing is discussed.
No,
they simply go by the definition.
That means where is the right to protest?
Right. Where is the right to protest? In a manner like this? In a manner like this? Should it be in the manner like this? Should it be in the manner like this?
But in this case, if we take this case, only this case, because there is another case where it's not related to terrorism, it's related to sedition, where Supreme Court quashed the FIR against Vinod Dua, senior journalist Vinod Dua, and said there is no reason to be sedition case should be. I'm not going into that.
I have not gone through that. I have not gone through that case. Merely criticizing.
I'm not going into that. But the thing is, the law is to reform.
Criticizing the government does not amount to sedition.
The theory of jurisprudence is not
the law is laid down. No, it's criticizing the government in whatever severe manner, in a filthy manner, even accepting it. It does not. In Kedarnath case, it has been held.
No, but creating. Then Justice Rao, where do you put cartoonists? They have also been charged under UAPA. And the question is that these people have lost their jobs.
No, cartoonists cannot be charged
because they have been charged. They have been charged.
No, sir, we do not have facts here to analyze and to discuss. We do not have. It's out the statement.
But this is
and Binayak Singh case. In Binayak Singh case, there was a hue and cry that to delete sedition and all that. It is very stupid. In India, the need for sedition is still there. You look at Maoists. What are they doing? Killing policemen.
No, but
is it not sedition?
No, but when that happens, nobody opposes that. Nobody opposes because they also kill people. And Naxals, the problem is somewhere it has to be
in our country, everything is. In our country, everything is politicized. Everything is politicized. See, look at recently Israel. Before, when the war broke out, even the opposition sided the government. Sided the government. She said the case in our country. When Pulwama happens, somebody questions. When China attacks, somebody questions. No, there should be unity, sir. As far as national integrity is concerned, national defense is concerned, there are certain limits to oppose the government. But not to question. See, when people have been in Pulwama, people were killed. In media, they wanted evidence. Should evidence be produced before the media? Should evidence be produced before the political party? Is that the area where place where the evidence has to be produced? Should their approval be taken? Should that be the conduct? When the whole nation is outraged, and in CAA also, what exactly is the case before? It discriminates on the religious grounds. What exactly is the intention behind? You are not granting citizenship to Muslims, irrespective whether they are illegal immigrants, especially from Bangladesh and Rohingyas. What else it is? Then why do you have the passport law? Why do you have the foreigners law? Why do you have all those things? If everybody's, then let there be no territorial boundary at all, no territorial integrity at all. It is unfortunate. Most of our senior council, they mislead. They may have right to argue, but there is limit. There is a limit. There is a conscience. They should know what they have spoken earlier and what their parties stand earlier. They can't have a double speak.
Okay.
It's a case where the police personnel were killed and then entire law and order machinery was disrupted, thrown out of gear. And in fact, it's very reticent. Government was very reticent. In fact, they should have ordered. And in fact, see, when these riots broke out, Chidambaram, somebody wanted army to come out. Then they realized if army come out, the people gets killed. Then the protest cannot go on. So they're to protect their own interest, electoral interest, they said they oppose that the army need not come. These are the things, sir. Court should go by the record. Here in this case, the court has not gone by the record. They have not referred to any of the evidence and the material referred to by the prosecution. You see, from F onwards, there is a clear mention. Witnesses' presence is there. And what is the contention raised by the appellants? Only few points. There is no evidence and all that. Charge sheet is not, material is not given to us. That is all presented. In a larger charge sheet, that is presented. If crimes like this get condoned judicially, I think there is no need to have a police and courts. And to condemn police all with the time. It is the police who becomes the victim in any of these agitations. Even look at your farmers' agitation, what happened? They went to the Red Fort, threw away the Indian flag and installed Khalistani flag. And they still say we are Indians, we are decent. What nonsense it is. There is a limit for that. We have to take holistic approach, nationalist approach.
Okay. One last question. Because the thing is, okay, these people are still accused. They have not been cleared. They have not been absolved of their crime. Fine. It's a hypothetical also to some extent, but it has earlier happened in other cases. People who have been accused of some crime, whatever crime,
they get acquitted.
They get acquitted.
They are also, sir. I tell you.
No. My point is something different. My point is those people who are acquitted for, let's say, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, or 6 months, and they have been in jail. But if they are acquitted, तो उनके ऊपर जो एक धब्बा लगता है, जो एक उनके ऊपर
वो कॉम्पेंसेशन देना पड़ेगा आपके हिसाब से.
उसका कॉम्पेंसेशन कैसे होगा?
देना पड़ेगा. Sir, what is the nature of acquittal? Not proved reason beyond reasonable doubt. Not that they are innocent. Not proved beyond reasonable doubt, acquittal is given. Not that they are innocent. Then the question of, see, there is a immunity for the state actions, even for compensation, there is a immunity under the law of torts. You cannot claim compensation in matters like that. But
then there is a related question. Should not police or the investigating agency be blamed or be held responsible for not proper investigation or proper collection of evidence and everything?
I'll tell you, the acquittal not necessarily because of the faults of the police. Many a time witness fail the prosecution, and many a time
that is part. That is
witnesses are terrorized, and wrong appreciation of evidence. And wrong appreciation of evidence also can take place. See, there is something opinion in the judicial circles. Judges are branded as conviction mind judge and an acquittal mind judge. As you know, in civil cases, tenant judge, landlord judge. Such things have happened. The prejudices are not merely can be attributed to the people or to the politicians or to the journalists. It can equally apply to judges also. The judgment decision making, it involves the judge also seeps in his ideology into judgments. So that nothing, you can't take anything as infallible. Everything is fallible. Even Supreme Court, it is said, it is not because the judgments are infallible, because it is a final court. There is no other court to appeal. Therefore, it will be accepted.
Justice Rao, the legal platform पे बात करने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. हम आज जस्टिस राव से हमने बात की और जस्टिस राव का ये मानना है कि जो इन लोगों को बेल दी गई है वो हाईकोर्ट का एक अपना फैसला, उसका अपना एक महत्व है, लेकिन ये है कि जस्टिस राव का ये मानना है कि कोर्ट ने कुछ फैक्ट्स जो उसके सामने रखे गए उस पर पूरा ध्यान नहीं दिया है, उनको पूरी तरीके से नहीं देखा है, पूरी तरीके से नजरअंदाज तो नहीं किया, लेकिन उनको पूरी तरीके से देखा भी नहीं, उन पर पूरा ध्यान नहीं दिया गया है. हम जल्दी ही एक नए मुद्दे पे एक नई शख्सियत के साथ आपके सामने फिर हाजिर होंगे. तब तक के लिए नमस्कार.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू.